Welcome. We are going to work with a foam roller today. And in particular, we're going to work with the sides of the body. So this is an area where a lot of us hold tension that we're maybe not even aware of. I kind of like to refer to it as armor. Like, this is a place where when we've been tense and protecting ourselves, we don't even realize it's tightened up. So what you're going to want is a long foam roller, and if possible, a soft one, right? If you don't have a soft one, it's going to be a lot more uncomfortable. And when we get to the side ribs, you might want to wrap it with a blanket so it's not so hard, because it's a very tender area. Okay, so to begin with, you're going to put your roller down. I always recommend using a hard surface if you have it, or on top of your yoga mat. Carpet can kind of dent up a foam roller over time. And then you're going to sit on one side, and you're going to lean back and put your mid back on the foam roller. Yes, I know I said we're going to do the side body, but first the back. Okay, so we're going to focus from the mid back to the upper back. You're going to support your head with your hands. Try to relax your neck into that weight of your hands, or into the support rather. And then you're going to lift with your tail, and you're going to slowly roll toward the shoulders. Now, a lot of people, when they use foam rollers, they go super quickly, like they're ironing a shirt. And I want you to just go really slowly. And as you move back towards your mid back, you elevate the head a little bit and you let the tail drop down. And we're going to do that slow pass again. So from the mid back, pull with your legs. You can kind of tuck your tail, allow your head to release back, and get some more weight towards the shoulders. Now, up here near the shoulder blades, where this kind of firm spot of the upper back is, you're going to find a little bit more stiffer, tender spot. You're going to use your legs to keep your hips elevated, and you're going to make a very small push-pull movement with the legs so that you're rocking on the same spot in your back. So instead of rolling up and down, you're just rocking in place on the same part of your back, almost like you're scratching your back. And then you're going to hold at that tense spot. You're going to take a breath. You're going to stay here. As you exhale, you're going to drop your hips back down. And then you're going to open the elbows apart, and you're going to keep the head supported, but you're going to side bend over to the right, as if you're going to take your right elbow onto the foam roller. It probably won't make it that far, but butt down. So there's a little bit of a back bend. The head is back, and your weight is really resting on the roller, and you're just side bending to the right so that the left side of your body begins to open. And then you just wait. And this is what I mean about, like, a lot of people just go quickly, like they're ironing something out. And this isn't clothes ironing chore. I mean, who irons anymore? But you get the visual. Just pause, just stay. That's where the benefit is going to come, and the stress relief will actually happen from that. Let's side bend to the other direction. So if it's a little bit intense, you can keep the head higher as you side bend. If you want a little bit more depth, you can lean the head back so it's a little bit more of a back bend, and then you're tipping left elbow like toward your hip, and right elbow away from the right hip. And you can just be curious about where do you feel this? Like, for me, I'm feeling it in kind of the back of my shoulder, which is not where I was expecting to feel it. I thought I would have felt it in my side. So if you notice a tight spot like that, you can imagine your breath going there, like it's making space for that part of your body. Or if nothing else, just ease and presence with what's happening. Let's give it like one more breath to just try to receive this stretch without too much effort. And then you're going to come back to center and pick up your head. Okay, we're going to turn to the right side and put the right forearm on one side and the hips on the other side. So now the roller is under the right side of the body. And we're gonna start not in the armpit, but kind of just below the armpit at the side ribs where the shoulder blade and side ribs kind of meet. And the right arm can relax, it can be behind your head, whatever feels good for you. Like if your neck is sore, you might wanna support the head. And right now, and this is where if you have a harder roller, you might wanna put like a blanket over it so it's not so intense. You wanna be able to breathe. What we're starting to work with is in these little intercostal muscles, that area, when it gets really, when we grip in there and we grip up in the diaphragm, it stops our ability to breathe freely, and this contributes to our stress response. So just rest your weight in one spot right now. I haven't moved at all. I'm just trying to let this spot in my kind of back/side body, like it's like a trigger point. Like you're trying to wait for it to just let go a little bit. And then instead of rolling, you're gonna rock your weight toward your back a little bit more, so your gaze is going towards the ceiling. And then you're gonna rock your weight forward. Oof. That sound was, there's a tight spot. And then, so really you're just rolling forward to backward. And ladies, so this is pretty high. You don't wanna like smush your breasts. So just stop before you're hurting your boob at all. You're trying to stay on like the bony landmark of the ribs, not so much the soft tissue. So maybe 2 or 3 times you just roll forward and backward. And then you pause, you take a breath, maybe out the mouth when you exhale. Use your arm to push into the floor, lift your ribs, and slide the roller down to the middle of your rib cage. So not the floating ribs, not the soft tissue of your waist, but a little lower on your rib cage. And we're just gonna repeat the same action. So you're letting your body acclimate to the sensation of this thing that's pushing into the armor of your side body. And your tendency may be to kind of rush through this because it's a bit uncomfortable. And just, have some self-compassion. Your body receives so much information all day long, like it's beyond the level of your brain's conscious awareness. Your nervous system's constantly picking up information, and it's kind of intense. It's like being in a really loud room, Okay, start to rock your weight forward and backward, or backward and forward. So you're just going really slowly with your weight from front to back. And again, if you don't have a soft roller, wrap your roller in a blanket or a bath towel so that this is less severe. Like this might be really intense if you have a really firm roller. And part of why I suggest this soft roller is because I'm not doing this in the technique that most people do. Most people are doing that quick roll out, like you can handle more intensity when you're going through it faster. This holding still is more intense, so you need a less intense roller, if that makes sense. So pause again with the movement of forward, backward rocking. And then big breath. Good work. Okay, so you're gonna lift your weight up, and we're gonna stay on the same side. We'll do the other side in a moment, but we're gonna move to the outer edge of the upper leg. Don't cringe, it's gonna be okay. I know the IT band is gnarly. So in this one, you're gonna lift your hips up onto the roller, and you're kind of going to that like outer thigh area, and again, you're gonna put your right forearm down. So we're gonna basically do the same kind of techniques as with the side body. We're not just rolling up and down like aggressively. You're just gonna begin to explore the top of the thigh. And instead of going all the way to your knee, as soon as you find, you might already be on it, an intense spot, you're gonna pause there, just like you did on your ribs, and you're gonna hold, and you're gonna let your body receive that pressure. Like the foam roller is giving you a massage. If it's way too intense, especially if you have a really firm foam roller, you can put your top leg in front and take some weight off with that foot, like push down into the foot so it's less intense. But just check in and catch yourself if you're like gripping again and holding your breath. Okay, now that you've been on that spot for a while, what you're gonna do with the bottom leg is instead of moving your body on the roller, you're just going to bend your knee and straighten your knee. And you're going to do that a couple times. So you're holding the same kind of painful spot and you're going to bend and straighten the same leg. You could roll forward and backward like you did on your ribs also, or even a combination of that. Take a breath. Let the breath go. We're going to roll down the leg, go slow, and we're kind of seeking out the tender spot. Now, if it's too tender and you're like clenching your butt and you're clenching your face, that's probably not where you want to be. Just be above or below that spot. And then pause for a couple breaths, trying to let your body just kind of squish onto the roller. And then same as before, you're going to bend and straighten the leg that's on the roller a couple, 3 times. Maybe you roll forward, backward on it. So instead of using the roller like a rolling pin, you're trying to find those intense spots and sit on them for a minute. And I would suggest that you do 2 or 3 spots, and don't do it on your knee. Don't roll on your knee. That's not a good spot for you to put pressure. And then we're going to do like a rinsing movement. We're going to go up the back of the leg. We're going to turn toward the floor and go down the front of the leg. And we're going to do that 3 times. So you're going to roll back of the leg from knee to hip. It's not all the way on the back. It's like the back of the side. And then front of the side, hip to knee. Do that one more time. And then try not to hurt yourself and come on off of the roller. And you might notice already, just when you sit or stand or lie down, how different the 2 sides of your body feel. So we're going to do all of that on the other side. And I'm going to do this with my back to you because you might get some different information for that. So no offense, I'm not purposefully doing that. Hi, Lizzie. Lizzie and Ember are here with me today. You probably noticed that. All right, so we're starting on the left side. You can use your right hand to help control the roller, and you're coming pretty high on the ribs near the shoulder blade, below the armpit. Support your head if you want. Hi, Lizzie. And just let your body release down onto the roller as best you can. Once you've kind of sat on that somewhat tender spot, the action is to rock forward and backward, not to roll up and down. At the end of that movement, you pause and take a breath, maybe letting the air go out the mouth on the exhale. The exhaling side of the breath is the side that's generally calming, soothing. And then you can use your arms, lift up enough to move the roller down so that it's kind of near the mid ribs, not the floating ribs, not the soft part. Let the weight rest. And again, you're looking for a slightly tender spot, but not a spot that's so tender that you're causing more pain, right? We're trying to release this stress and tension that the body's holding. Rock from front to back, and just go slow. We're not in any kind of rush. Rushing is actually usually very stressful for people. When we start to feel like we don't have enough time for ourselves, that just adds to this sense of being compressed and tense. After you've rocked back and forth a couple of times, just sink your weight into the roller once more. Take a nice full breath. Slow, soft exhale. And then we'll move on to the IT band. So you lift up, you put the roller under your outer upper leg, and then you drop down onto your forearm. And you're kind of below your hip at this point in time. You're on your leg. There are things we can do on the hip. We're just not doing that today. And you're just going to go real slow in one direction from your hip toward your knee. And you may have to adjust your weight a little bit more toward the back of your leg or the front, and find the magic spot that lights up some intensity. Couple breaths. And then bending that left leg. You're going to just bend the knee a couple of times. So the foam roller, because it's kind of pinning the connective tissue, as you flex and extend your knee, it's pulling on the connective tissue at that spot where the pressure is. I wish you could see my face. I'm making like, intense face gestures. I'm sure you are too. Okay, hold on it. Just try to stay with it. If it's too intense, back off. It's better to have it less intense than more. And now let's go down the leg a little bit more. Holy smokes, this leg is twice as tight as the other leg for me. And look for another intense spot that's not too intense, but is bearable so that you can actually stay on it without grimacing. I mean, I know I said I made a face, and I did, but it was like, oh my gosh, kind of face. Just sit there. Be patient. Some compassion for your body. And then you're going to bend slowly. Whew. And straighten your legs. Sorry for all the sound effects, guys. This is pretty intense. And I just did this yesterday, by the way. So if you run, this one is probably going to be super good for you. Or if you mountain bike, for that matter. Anything where you use your legs a lot. Okay, if you haven't started the bending and straightening, do. And remember that as you bend and straighten, you can also kind of mix in a little bit of that like rock toward the front of your leg or back, so you're really getting right into where you need it to be. Pause on a good spot. A spot, when I say good, I mean one that you can tell is effective. It's doing something for you. And then try to give yourself kind of a focused, conscious breath. And then we're going to do kind of a rinsing sweep movement. So we're going to go up and down, kind of rolling. So up the front, down the back. From knee to hip on the somewhat front of the leg, and then from hip to knee on the back of the leg. And just do that like one or two more times. Less like you're trying to really press into a point, and more like you're just clearing out the tissue. And then you're going to back yourself all the way off of there. And see how you feel. Okay, let's take 3 breaths together. And just see how much more space you have in your body, and this will contribute to less stress and less anxiety. Thank you so much for practicing today, and I look forward to seeing you next time.